How much can someone hate their own life? Every time the plane hit turbulence, he prayed for a crash. He thought that, in that moment, his life would finally have some meaning. He worked as a recall inspector for a car company. His job was to investigate accidents involving the company's vehicles and assess whether a recall was necessary. In other words, when a car crash occurred, he would calculate. If the cost of compensating victims was less than the cost of recalling the vehicles, the company wouldn't issue a recall. Even if they knew the cars had defects, they'd still sell them to customers. This cold, calculated pursuit of profit is the essence of capitalism. And living in such an environment can make a person hollow, lost, anxious, isolated, irritable, unable to feel happiness. For some, like the protagonist, it's even worse. His emotions had been stripped away entirely. He had become a shell of a man, like the Walking Dead. He no longer wanted promotions or raises. All he wanted was to get a good night's sleep. He went to see a doctor, begging for sleeping pills, but the doctor refused and dismissed his pain. You think you're suffering? If you want to know what real pain is, go visit those with terminal illnesses, the doctor said. So he actually went to a cancer support group. He pretended to be one of the patients, sitting in on their meetings and listening to people share stories of their struggles. Watching others cry, he felt a faint stirring in his long dead heart. The group leader encouraged the attendees to pair up and hug each other for comfort. A large, overweight man locked eyes with him and pulled him into a tight embrace. Though they were strangers, the man held him like a long-lost family member. The man shared his story. He had once been fit, wealthy, and had a loving wife and daughter. But years of abusing steroids had destroyed his hormones, leaving his body deformed. Then his career fell apart, his wife left him, and his life spiraled into loneliness and poverty. His tragic fate, like a landslide, overwhelmed the protagonist in a strange, twisted way. It was as if the man's suffering healed him. For the first time in years, he felt emotions bubbling to the surface. Leaning against the man's chest, he broke down in tears. He cried harder and harder, releasing everything inside him. In that moment, he felt something miraculous, a sense of freedom. He later said, "When you lose all hope, you gain freedom." That night, he finally slept like a baby. From that day on, he became addicted to support groups for terminally ill patients. Physical illnesses, mental illnesses, incurable diseases, it didn't matter. He went to every kind of support group he could find. He didn't speak. His silence made everyone assume he was sick too. He hugged people, listened to their stories, and cried with them. He was no longer a zombie. He had become a vampire, feeding on the suffering of others to fuel his own existence. But one day, at a support group for a type of cancer that only affects men, he noticed an uninvited guest, a woman. That day, it seemed like she was everywhere he went. No matter the disease, she was there. He quickly realized that this woman, like him, was a fraud. She wasn't sick. She wasn't suffering. She had no shame. Looking at her, he saw a reflection of his own lies. And suddenly, he could no longer cry. He could no longer sleep. As long as she was there, he couldn't feel the pain of others. She became a thorn in his side, an unbearable presence in his life.